Okay, so let's quickly recap what we discussed yesterday, and then we'll move forward. Just let me share my screen.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so yesterday we discussed about the number and date transformation, and then we moved to add columns, column from examples, custom column, how to create a custom column, and conditional column, these all things. With this, the transformations are completed. All the transformations are completed. We didn't discuss about invoke custom function, but now it is okay. Like we will discuss once we go to the next level once you practice these things, because this is bit advanced. So with this, all the transformations are done. So just quickly, a small recap about transformations. So we do transformation once we extract the data, and if data cleaning is needed, we do data cleaning. Otherwise, we go to the transformations. So transformation means converting our tables or the columns to desired format or desired way, or making them proper tables. So in the transformations, majorly we discussed about different type of mergings and group by, and then these are all table transformations. So how to transform a table, like transposing table and counting the rows of the table, these things. So then we move to any column transformations. So these transformations can be applied to any type of column, irrespective of the type, text, number, whatever it is. So here, important transformations are unpivot and replacing the values and errors. So these we discussed, and then we move to text. So the text transformations all are very, very important here. Splitting the columns into different number of columns based on delimiter, based on numbers, based on the position, these all things. Then in the format, trimming, capitalize, lowercase, uppercase, these are very common text transformations. And then we discussed about merging the columns and extracting the column, extracting the desired substring from a cell or from a text. Then yesterday we discussed about number column transformations, numbered summation, addition, multiplication, and rounding of these things. And finally, we discussed about date and time transformations. In the date and time transformations, we can extract all the parts of date, and also we can subtract between 2 days, two dates, that is age, and in the same way, like for the time and for the duration. And next, this also comes under the transformations of add columns. So we can add new columns using our own formulas, using custom column, or you can use conditional column to derive a new column based on different conditions. And column from examples gives us the advantage whenever we don't know how to write functions. So we can give examples and it will generate output, the desired output. So these are the same things again, the text and number and date. As I said, if you do them under the transform tab, it will impact on the same column. If you do it under add column tab, it will create a new column. That's the difference. Rest all is same. And AI insights we don't need. That's related to machine learning and computer vision. Then moving forward, we have some options here. These are just informations. In this, I will show you one two important information. So under the view tab, you see all these options, like we can enable and we can disable all these options. By enabling and disabling these options, we can see some additional information. For example, this is the query setting. So you can remove it if you want. Once you come here under the view tab, you need to click on query settings to enable them again. Okay. So if you click here, it will go, and if you click here, it will come again. And this is the formula bar. This is formula bar. If you don't want this, you can just remove. This is just for viewing purpose. Okay. And in the data preview, some very important information. We don't need this monospaced, white space, this all. But here, these three are important: column quality, column distribution, column profile. Column quality, if we enable column quality, it will just check quickly the column. All are valid or error or empty. It will check, okay, all these column have the valid values or invalid values or any error values. So it will check all these details. Valid means everything is correct number or correct format or not. Error, we already seen like some dates, and in some columns we will get errors. So it will show here. And empty means any blank cells. So it will just give us the information, how much percentage of empty cells, error data, valid data we have. So almost all the columns are having all the valid data only. Nowhere we have blanks or something. Yeah, nowhere we have. These are based on top 1,000 rows only. You can see here column profiling is based on top 1,000 rows. But you don't know, maybe there is a blank after 1,000th row, maybe at 10,000th row, or maybe at 9,000th row. So if you want to see this profiling or column quality for entire data, you need to click here, and column profiling based on entire data set. You need to click the second option. Initially, Power BI will take only top 1,000 rows. But once you click here, it will recalculate based on entire data set. Now you see here the count 9994. So entire data we have is 9,994. For that, it is showing this column quality. Okay. Next, column distribution. So this will also give some information about distinct and unique values. So what is distinct and what is unique? Distinct is number of non-duplicated values. For example, let's go to this. Yeah. So here we have 1.9, 1.9 twice, and 1.5 and 1.1. So distinct means one sample per one, like one duplicate. For example, 1.5, we have only one. Okay, one. 1.1, another one, two. And two 1.9s are there. You will get only one. Okay, that is why three distinct. Three distinct. I mean, different values. Distinct mean different values, non-repeated values. Unique means there should not be any repetition. Like if it is repeated, then it will exclude this number. So unique are here only two, 1.5, 1.1. 1.9 is repeated, so it won't be considered under unique. Okay. Distinct, it will consider the duplicates, but only once. 1.9, 1.9, two times is there, but it will consider only once. Unique, it won't consider at all. These duplicated rows, it won't consider at all. So this information will be useful when you are trying to find whether you have any unique column or not, any primary key or not. Okay. So you can see here row ID. This is having 9994 distinct and 9994 unique. When these both are same, that means this entire column is unique. This entire column is unique. There are no duplicates at all, not even one. That is the meaning. So you will get this information using column distribution. Okay. The next one is column profiling. This will give some like some more information about the column. So it will give like how many rows, how many headers, how many empty, the same thing this before we saw. But it will give some more additional information like what are distinct values, what are the unique values, what are the non values, like sorry, uh, like blank values and zero, how many zeros are there, minimum value, maximum value, average. So it will give all the information about a column. If it is a numeric column, it will give all the numeric information. If it is a text column, for example, it will give you like distinct, unique, empty string, minimum, maximum. So this information. This is not much useful. We know we don't use this much, but yeah, like there is an option to get this information about different columns. So if you go to date, it will give you the different date options. So that's all under view. Under this data preview, these three options are a bit important. Then go to columns is just to go whatever the column we want. Sometimes we will get a lot of columns, so we cannot find like this. If you scroll like this, you cannot find sometimes. Like if you have more than 50 columns or 60 columns, you cannot find them easily. Then you can go to column and you can find. You don't need to come here. You can even do this under the home tab, under the choose columns. You can have like this option, go to column. Okay, and the parameters always hello. So this is about the parameters. I will tell you what is the parameters. And then advanced editor. So we have advanced editor here as well. So this will have all the code about the query, entire code about the query. And finally, query dependencies. Query dependencies, most of the people don't use this, but this is very useful when you have a lot of tables. You joined a company and you got a dashboard from someone, for example, and they asked you to change source or something. There are many tables. So first of all, you will try to understand like, okay, all the tables are coming from the same source or they are coming from the different source. So you want to see the easiest way to see this is query dependencies. You can go to each source and you can check out as well, but this is like time taking. You need to go to each and every table and you need to check. But if you go to query dependencies, here it will show all the tables. See, here I have all the tables and it will give, okay, what is the source? You see here orders, people, returns, all are connected to this Excel file. So this is how it shows. If you have multiple sources, it will show all the sources and all the tables. So this is one of the advantage to check quickly whether which table is connected to which data source. Okay, so yeah, that's all about view options, different view options. And we have tools, like this is not exactly needed to discuss, but I will quickly tell because we should not miss anything. So this starts recording traces of a query. Sometimes what happens, we are here dealing with only 9,000 rows. It's cool. It's executing very quickly. It won't even take 1 minute. When we are working with 1 million or 10 million or 120 million of rows, your steps are very, very important. Which step you are performing, which merging you are performing, how much time it is taking. Everything is very important. What what happens in real time scenarios? You create a table and you do some transformations and you publish. Then what happens in the refresh time? It will take a lot of time. Like sometimes it takes like 2 hours, 3 hours to refresh the data. And we don't understand why it's taking that much time. Sometimes it will just fail. The memory, all the memory is utilized and it will give some errors and it will just fail. So we don't understand what is the issue. There will be like many causes. One is database side, it will be slow, or maybe the data is very huge, or maybe your transformations. Your transformations are very heavy. Okay, to understand whether my transformations are impacting or not, you can come here and you can check. So you can check specific step. For example, I did some, let's say, added columns. So I added some columns by writing a query. So I don't know whether this is taking a lot of time or this is executing quicker. So I can check this by going to diagnostic step. So if I click on diagnostic step, it will just check this step. Okay. It will just check the step and it will give us this information. See, it generated some information here. So we can go and we can see here the step, how much time it is taking, total processing time. 0 point, not even 1 millisecond. It is less than 1 millisecond. Okay, this is hours, this is minutes, this is seconds, milliseconds, and nanoseconds. So it's just taking very, very minute time. Okay. Likewise, we can diagnose whatever the steps we want. We can check, okay, how much time it is taking. Most of the people don't use it. Even I didn't use much these options because we easily understand by looking at the query which one is taking time. We don't need to go here. But remember, there is a option to check which step is taking a lot of time. You can start diagnostics and you can just check entire queries like a lot of time. So here you will see these diagnostics options. But once you check, maybe you can delete. You don't need to keep these tables because these are just some extra informations. You can just delete this all once you get the information. Once you understand which is taking a lot of time, then you can delete them.
Can we delete in the real time also, Abhinay? Like,
Yeah. This is just for information. So
Okay.
you don't need this information data in the real data,
Okay.
right? This is to just understand which query is taking a lot of time from our side. That's all. From a developer perspective, we don't need this data in the visualization. Okay, let's go forward, and I will explain about filtering and how to use the parameters. So one of the most important question if you go for interview is parameters. So they always ask about the parameters. So what are the parameters? Parameters hold some value or data. We can change whenever we want. Okay. So I will give you a quick example. So my data is, or my report is based on a country. Let's say my report should have only one country data. Okay. Currently, like it is having, I don't know. Oh, sorry, only one country. Let's take another example. Let's take segment. So we have different segments here: consumer, corporate, home office. So we are sharing this report to corporate office or home office or consumers. They want to see only their details, their information only. So we can filter here like consumers, and we can click OK, and we can just close and apply, and entire data will be consumer data. So this is cool. We are getting consumer data, and that is fine. We publish it, but the customer wants next home office data. What we need to do, we need to come here and we need to change that parameter again. Let it load. Okay. So now we got only consumers data. We can do normal filtering also, but I'm completely concentrating only on Power Query now. So again, now we need to change the segment to home office. In developer environment, we can easily come to Power Query and we can change. But in user environment, or we don't want to come to Power BI desktop, we don't want to change this here. We don't want to change this here. In this case, we take help of parameters. Okay, one more important use case is like we have same kind of tables. Like in each table we have segment. For example, order 2, order 3. Here also we have segments. Let's say in this we don't have. Okay, here these are all group. Okay, this is, let's add segment. Okay, yeah, we have segment here and group rows. Here also I'm taking segment. Okay, now all these three tables are having segments. Now I need to have only segment data. So I will go here and I will filter the consumer, and again I need to go here and I need to filter the consumer. So next time user requested to shift it to corporate. So we need to come here and we need to go to each and every table, and we need to change. Sometimes if we have only 2 to 3 tables, it is fine. If we have 10 tables, 20 tables, where we need to change this type of filter every time in every table, it will be painful. So in order to avoid this, we can create a parameter. So here I am creating a parameter, new parameter. So parameter name, I'm giving it as segment. So here you can give different types, like whatever the type. If you are dealing with a date column, you can give date. If you are dealing with text column, you can give text or number, whatever. So here I'm dealing with text column. Segment is text column. So I'm giving text. So in segment, we have 3 values. So you can give any value, or you can give list of value, or you can write a query also. I'm giving list of values, just consumer, next one, what is this? Corporate, and another one we have home office. Home office. So these are the 3 values we have. So I'm giving this, and default value, I need to keep one default value. So I'm keeping consumer and current value, like what you want to select currently. So this one also I'm keeping consumer. Okay, so this is my parameter. So it will show in a different shape. It is just holds a value. Okay, parameter will hold a single value like this. Now, instead of filtering here manually, I can go to text filters and equals here. So here you see equals. I can just select like consumer or whatever I want. But instead of giving manual values, or instead of giving single values, here I'm selecting parameter. Okay, here I'm selecting parameter. There is only one parameter, so that's why it is already showing here. So what we are doing here, we are taking, okay, keep rows with the segment only whenever it equals to the parameter value, whatever the parameter value is. So keep it. So now, okay. So parameter is also consumer. Now we got, that is why we got consumer value. Let's do it for all this, this table as well. So text filters equals to, instead of this parameter, okay. I need to remove this consumer filter because this is a manual filter. And here, I need to remove consumer equals to consumer. So now it is equals to this parameter. This is the parameter name. Now, last one, this one, I'm going to write equals to, this is also parameter and the segment. Now see the magic. So each table have consumer as a filter because parameter value is consumer. Now I am changing it to home office. So I changed only once in the parameter. Now if I go to orders, I will see home office. If I go to orders 2, I'll see home office, and order 3, I'll see home office. So by changing one value in the parameter, you can see All the tables are reflected. Now let's change it to corporate. Order 3, corporate, order 2, corporate, and orders corporate. Here, corporate. So this is the advantage with parameters. You can hold a single value or multiple value, and you can just use them as filters. Okay, this is one of the use case. When you are having multiple filters, you can just filter using parameter. Another use case, very, very important use case, is source changing. It is very, very, very important. Source changing. So let me take data from SQL Server. I think I have it in recent sources. Yes. So I'm taking table from dev. This is the dev database. Okay. So this is the dev database. I took the data from dev database. You can see here. So this is the server name and this is the database. Now I will create a visualizations and I will publish the report to dev. There will be in most of the organizations, there will be three environments. One is dev, one is UAT, or another one is production. You might know about this because you said here that you worked in the testing. So in dev environment, the developers, whatever the developers develop, they publish it. In UAT environment or testing environment, the testers will test. And the production is the final one, where once the testing is completed, the dashboard will go to the production. So there are like multiple ways how a developer can use these three environments. I'm sorry, there's something wrong with this. Okay. Okay. Three environments. Dev, UAT, or testing, or prod. So this is, let's say you are a Power BI developer, PBI developer, and there is a data engineer as well, where they will provide data to you, and you will have different databases. So there's the same server, but different database. One is same dev database and test production. So test and production, prod database. So these three different databases will be there. So when Power BI developer is developing a report for initially, like when he's developing, he will connect to this dev database and he develop the report and he publish to dev workspace. And whenever developing is completed, if you want to send it to testing, so then he will connect it to test and then send it to testing. Once testing is done, the same thing happens. It connect he will connect to the prod and publish to the prod. So this is what happens. So here the thing is, we have the developer needs to change this. For example, I have this data, IP data. Maybe I created some visualizations like this. I published to dev, one of the environment, and development is completed. So I need to change this database to test, right? I need to change this database to test. This is where we need to come to Power BI desktop again. And we need to change, we need to go here, transform data, and we need to change the database and save it and publish it again. And same thing for the prod. We need to download the desktop version and go to transform data and change database to prod and publish. So this is all manual work. Next time, after 10 days, testing team came up with the new changes and they asked us to change something. Again, what we need to do? We need to change and we need to publish, and we need to, whenever we are sharing it to test, we need to again connect to the test and publish, and we need to connect to the prod and publish. So this is a manual work, the repetition of three times going to transform data and changing the source here, right? Changing the database here. So instead of dev, you use UAT, you use prod. So this is like all manual work. If you want to avoid this manual work, if you want to do it by, you don't want to come to Power BI desktop at all, you can do it in Power BI service using parameters. So how these parameters will work? So let's take the same example of segment. So I'm publishing it. See here. I'm publishing it to, what is our workspace name? Whatever. Okay, I'm publishing to my workspace. So now it is done. It's publishing. So I'm going to Power BI service to see whether it is published or not. So it is in my workspace. So I can click here and this is the report. 4:30. So today it is published. Now I can see the data related to the segment. Now, if I want to change it to home office, now it is consumer, I think. I want to change it to home office. So I don't need to download Power BI desktop and I need to go to the transformation set. No need. One of the advantage with the parameters, as we added parameters, so we can click on the data set. So this is report and this is data set. So we can click on the data set and go to the settings. And here you see the parameters. So here, now it is corporate. You can give home office. Okay, home office. Once it is done, you can apply and the data will be changed to home office. So no need to come to Power BI desktop and do. Okay, that is the advantage with the parameters. Even the same thing with databases, different databases. So once we parameterize the database, so let's do this also. I'm going to parameterize the database. So I'm taking one more parameter, new parameter, and this is like DB or database. So I have three type of databases. So I can give like any value is a single value. You can give list of values or you can give any query also. I mean, it will take data from other table, the last option. But I want the second one, list of values. One is dev. One is test or UAT. I don't know what it is. Okay, whatever. Test and prod. So I'm giving three values. Default value, I'm keeping it as dev. And current value also, I'm keeping it as dev. So the parameter is created now. How to use this parameter here? So I need to go to advanced editor. And in place of the text here, you can see the name equals to dev. So in place of this, you can give this DB. So I'm giving this. Now DB is okay. Now, once you see this data, that means there is no error in the query that we have written here. So in place of static dev, I'm giving the parameter here. Okay, I'm giving the parameter. Just I want to confirm once. Names of the databases. I'll just check here. Dev, prod, test. Okay, yeah, test correct. Okay, we have the same table here and we have the same table here. Yes. Okay, now our data is coming from dev database, right? Our data is coming from dev database. So if I change it here, instead of dev, if I change it from test, now our table is connected to test. Is this loading? Likewise, you can parameterize anything. You can parameterize even server, you can parameterize tables. So you can do anything with the parameters. Okay. So when someone asks you about the parameters, what is the advantage or what are the parameters in Power BI? So these are Power Query parameters. We have another parameters also, that is Power View parameters. Uh, like modeling. In the modeling, you will have parameters. This one. But these are specific to Power Query. So Power Query parameters can hold single value or like list of values or queries. Okay. Can hold a single value or list of value or values from the queries. Like this. Then we can use this parameter values to filter the data or maybe to change the source. And one of the major advantage with these parameters can be handled in Power BI service. No need to come to Power BI desktop and open the parameters. We can handle these parameters in Power BI service. Okay, this is a major advantage. We can change the values of parameters here, and based on that, the data will be updated in Power BI service itself. We don't need to download and change the sources and all. Okay, is it clear? Parameters?
Yes, Abhinay.
Yeah, very, very important. So I will just show you what is the last one in the parameters. So I'm creating a new parameter. So sometimes here, okay, for example, segment, I have three values I'm giving as list, but I have some, let's say 100 values. I cannot give one by one. Then in that case, what I need to do, I need to first get the names or segments in separate table, in separate list. Then I can use them in parameter. For example, instead of segment, I want to take content. Okay. So I'm duplicating this. Sorry, I'm taking customer name. So I'm going to rename this as customer. So here I'm taking customer. I don't want any other columns. Remove all other columns. Only customers. Only customers, and I don't want any duplicate rows. Remove duplicate. Just one customer per one row. Okay, I have total 793. I cannot pass one by one in the parameter, right? I cannot put one name, one name, one name, one name in the parameter for selection. I need to do this. I need to add these all names to parameters. Now I can go to new parameter, and this is customer. So here any, or you can give text type, and here a query. So here we need to select the query. Okay. So this query is basically, it is not showing here because it is not a list format. It will take a list of values. So even the query has to be a list. So that is why there is an option in the transformations in any column here. You see this option, convert to list. We didn't discuss while we are discussing about any column transformation. So this will convert a table into a list. Now this column, you see this is a table. This is a table format. If I click here, convert to list, it will convert to just a list. It is not a table format. It won't have any column or rows. It is just a list. A column is converted into list. You can see here, this is a list format. This is not in the table format. Okay, just a list of values. Now, if I go to my parameter, go to parameter, new parameter and customer. So here text type and list of, sorry, query. And here now it is enabled. You see, we have customers. Because we converted into list, now we can pass this list here. So the current value is Carlos. You can give anything. Carlos Soltero. This one. Now this is holding the Carlos Soltero. Right? We can filter the table using the customer, the orders table, using the customer name, text filter equals to, instead of normal value, parameter. I want customer parameter. Oh, this guy is not there. Maybe we already filtered. Okay, yes. I need to remove this filter on segment. Okay, now this see all the values are related to Carlos Soldero. Now if I change the parameter value to another guy, it will get we can change it here, the another name, and it will change there. If it is in the list, then it will change. If it is not in the list, it will throw an error, like it is not in the list. So for example, if I give my name, it won't work because it is not in the list. So it won't show any data because the name is not in the list. If it is in the list, it will show the data. So that is a query. So when you want to pass a query of values, you need to convert the query into a list. You need to convert the query into list. Okay, then you can use this. So that's about the parameters. In majorly, this parameterization will be useful when you are doing this operation. So you are connecting to dev, test. I mean, a single dashboard can be maintained for all these three environments. You don't need to maintain three versions. For one is for dev, one is for test, one is for prod. A single version, just change the parameter, change whatever the changes the testing team gave the feedback. So they asked you to change, for example, a small bug or fix something. You change it, you publish it to dev, and when you are publishing it to test, just change the parameter, publish, or you can publish it to three and just change the parameters. Here, change the parameter, change the parameter. That's all. Okay, that is the advantage with parameters. With this, we will be completing our transformations. Okay, so we completed extraction and data cleaning and the transformations. Is there any doubt related to today's topic or something in the transformations? If not, then yeah, we can move forward. Okay. So with this, entire Power Query is completed. Now we are moving it to Power Pivot. So once our data is ready, so we will store the data in data warehouse. Once all the transformations are completed, data cleaning is completed, everything, then we store our data in data warehouse. That is Power Pivot. That is the next step that we are going to do. Once we load, it will automatically command store in the Power Pivot. So this is Power Pivot. So now Power Query is closed. You see there is only one window. Now Power Query is not there. We already loaded data from Power Query to Power Pivot. So you can see here now the data, all this data. So this is Power Pivot. So let's take a new data set and we will clearly understand what we are going to do now in Power Pivot. So we are going to discuss about data manipulations. We are going to discuss about relationships and as well as DAX. Let me open a new Power BI file. Now I will get data. This. This. Okay. So we need to now discuss about what is data warehousing. So once we clean the data like this, once we clean and transform our data, we load this. I'm just transforming some small things. All are good. All are good. Okay. Now I'm closing and applying. So they are loading it to Power Pivot. So here, once they load it into Power Pivot, the tables will be every time the tables will be in different formats. Sometimes it will be a single table, single big table, or sometimes it will be like with a multiple tables like this, different tables. So a good model, a good Power BI model or good data model will always have two types of different tables. One is the fact and another one is dimension. So fact tables and dimension tables. So we need to understand what is fact table and what is dimension table in order to like clearly understand about the modeling. Okay. So let me go to an Excel and let's take an example of a small business. Let's consider DMart because this is common, like most of the people know about it. So if you go and purchase anything in DMart, there will be some like data generated for you for a transaction. Okay, so let's see what type of details they will store. So first thing, transaction ID. Transaction ID. Okay, let's say 1001. This is a transaction ID. Customer code. Let's say this is 1234. And customer name. They will ask you a name, so and so, ABC, and they will ask sometimes mobile number as well because they will send you the offers. And sometimes we are not sure, they will ask address as well, like where are you from. So let's say Hyderabad, and the product information like product ID, product ID 2003, let's say. Product name, let's say moong dal 1 kg, and store name where you are purchasing, store ID, store ID 3001, store name, let's say Hyderabad 1, and um, price, product price, some 100 rupees, and quantity, let's say 2 quantity. So this all information, let's say this is enough for now. So this all information, they they update when there is a transaction. So this is one transaction. Let's say there are like these many transactions every day. Okay, for the same customer coming, and next time they are purchasing some washing liquid, and the price is 20. And next time chocolate, let's say, and next product is chocolate, like let's say 50 rupees. Okay, I don't want to uh, write all these things. I just repeat this again and again, the same thing. Okay, the product ID will be also changed. Like this is 2004, let's say this is 2005. try to understand this data, what I'm doing here. So every time, whenever the customer purchases, the product ID, product name, and maybe the price will also change. The price is 120, 50, and here 100, here 20 again, and 50, like this. And quantity also, every time it will be different, like 2, next time 3, next time 1, next time 4, next time 2. It will be different. So now try to understand here what are changing every time or what are not changing. So the same customer, the transaction ID will be changed. Let's say here 1002. The next time the transaction ID. Okay. So let's identify which are changing, which are not changing. So let's give a color, yellow for changing and green for not changing. So this is changing. Transaction ID is different every time. Customer ID, the same customer, because you are the customer every time you're purchasing this. So this is not changing. Customer name, every time same customer. I mean, if the same customer is purchasing, the customer name won't change. And his phone number also won't change. The same phone number. And his address also won't change. Next, come to product. Yeah, products will be changed. Different products and different products name. Store ID, you are going to the same store and same address. So this is same, store name same, price changes every time. Quantity changes. Okay, now the same customer, so this is whole data that they are storing. So let's say to store this data, each column is taking 1 KB. So this is 1 KB, 1 KB, 1 kilobyte. Like each column is taking 1 kilobyte. Let's understand. Let's think that in that way. Now, if a like they look into this data and okay, this type of data they are storing for millions of customers. Every day there are millions of transactions. There are like they are storing all this data. Once they look into this data, they will see, okay, this is very good. I'm storing all this information. It is fine, but there is some doubt for me. Like the same customer, the customer name is not changing, phone number is not changing, address is not changing. Why we are repeating these all the rows these many times? Why can't we have a single table for customer where his ID, his phone number, his address will be stored? Like these four details will be stored in a separate table. Okay, but to keep a track what he is doing, just I will keep a customer ID here. I don't want all these details because these details are not changing. These are just we are repeating multiple times, but they are not changing every time. So instead of storing them multiple times in the data, we store them only once like this. This is customer table. We call it a customer table. Customer table. Okay, this is customer table. And this is our fact table, the main transaction table. Now what we will do, we remove this data. We keep only customer ID because we cannot remove customer ID also. Because if we remove customer ID, we don't know which customer is purchasing these products. We need to keep customer ID, but we don't need customer name. We don't need customer name, phone number, and other. Why? Because we are storing this information in a different table. Just one row is fine. Now we saved almost 3 KB. As you see here before, three columns, 1 KB. So we almost saved 3 kilobytes of data by removing them. Now we are storing in just one row. This won't take even half KB because just only one row. Instead of that many rows, we are just storing here one rows. Now, what is the advantage in this by removing here and adding here? We saved 3 KB of data storage, as well as the columns are reduced. Now it looks very easy table, like easy to understand this table. Instead of having customer name, customer phone number, customer address, and everything in the main table, we separated them here into a small table. Now we can refer, okay, if I'm doing visualization on this, or if I try to understand which customer this guy 1 2 3 4, who is this customer, I can match this 1 2 3 4 with this, and I can see, okay, that guy name is ABC and that guy phone number is this. Still I can get this information, all this information, using customer ID. So here customer ID, and we have here customer ID. So for the same, we can do for product also. Like we can keep product ID, we don't need to keep product name. We can maintain a table called product table, where we can keep only one ID and one name. So 2003 for Moongda. So every time whenever there is 2003, so we can easily understand, okay, that is for Moongdal. We don't need to maintain this product name also, because we are maintaining here. We can mention all the product IDs and all the product names only once. Likewise for the store, another table. By doing this, we are reducing a lot of storage. Okay, that is the advantage. That is the cost. We are cutting the cost, because for each and every storage, how much storage we are, like the business are paying, they need to sorry, how much storage the business are using, they need to pay. So as we are saving the storage, we are reducing the cost. That is the one advantage. And another advantage, we are making it very clear, like which table it is. This is the transaction table, this is the customer table, this is the product table. Product table means all the product information, customer table means all the customer information. Like another table for store information. So it is very clear. If I want to send messages for all the customers, I don't need to go to the transaction table. I just come to the customer table and I just send, okay, in my store, this is the offer now. So you can come and you can buy. There is a 50% offer going on. I just go to the customer table and just I send all the phone numbers. So this is the advantage of separating tables from main transaction data. So this concept is called data warehousing, or I mean, in the SQL language, this is called a normalization, but I don't want to go very deep into normalization and denormalization. From the big table, all information table, like all the transaction table, the data engineers, this is not a Power BI developer work actually, but if you want, you can do it. Not a problem. Even in Power BI also, we can do this. Just we need to remove the unwanted, like, tables, so unwanted columns, and we can make a separate table for them. But this is data engineers work. They do this and they give us different tables. So this they call it as transaction table, the main transaction table where all the transactions will be stored, or sales table, whatever it is. And this is customer table, product table, and another table. Okay. With this process, the tables are easy to understand, and the data will take very less storage. There are a lot of advantages. So these tables are called dimensions because these are holding additional information for the customer information, product information. So that is why these tables are called dimensions. This is called as fact table because this table holds the regular transaction information. So this keeps on changes every time. It keeps on changes. Like with a new customer purchasing something, it changes. But this customer tables, product table, this information won't change. The customer name, phone number, address, this won't change. Maybe they will change once in a while, maybe yearly once like that. But these are not regular changing dimensions or regular changing informations. So these are the dimensions and this is a fact. Is it clear? What is the difference between fact and dimensions? And
Yes, Abhinay.
what is the data warehousing? So in the data warehousing concept, they do this. They create dimension tables and they create the fact tables and they give this data to a Power BI developer or whatever the developer is. So this same thing comes to us. So now I will show you this data, what we got here. Okay. So here, the same thing, we have 4 different tables. I didn't load another table. Wait, I need to load the main table. Okay, so this is our data. Invoice processing. So this is the main data that all the invoices are stored with the different dates. Like which invoice on which date, which customer ID. You see all these IDs. Here we have only customer ID. We don't have any customer information. All this customer information will be there in the customer table. This is a dimension table. So the customer name, maybe customer phone number, but we don't have it, but customer phone number and other details. Likewise, the product details, if I want the group goods or product details, so I can go to the goods table and I can see like what is the goods name, what is the price of the goods, and like some other information. Likewise, I want countries information. What is this country and all? So I have countries table. So country's name. So these are the dimensions. Goods, disputes, customers, and countries are the dimensions, and invoice processing is the fact table. One of other important point here to identify whether it is fact or dimension. Facts, most of the times, like 90% of the facts are based on time because if a transaction has to happen, there should be a time, right? So all the facts, mostly 90% of the facts will have a date column in it. So by looking at the date column, we can easily identify, okay, this is based on the time. So it is changing based on the time. The transactions are happening based on the time, or the sales are happening based on the time, or the manufacturing happened on based on the time, or the, let's say, sports, the score is updating based on the time. So that is why this is fact. The dimension tables won't have any, like most of the time they won't have any dates because this is static information like names, additional information, address, like additional information. So that's why they don't have any dates. This is not 100 times true, but 90% of the times this is true. Facts will have dates, dimensions will have just the data. Okay, now all good so far. So we have facts and we have dimensions. And I'm closing and applying. Just okay. Now these are loaded into a power pivot. Now we loaded into power pivot. So I said power pivot is combination of these two, table view and model. These two are called as power pivot. Okay. Now in table view, we can see what is the data here. So in each table, what is the data we can see here. In model view, so this is the third one from here, in the left side icons, the third one, model view. Here we have all the tables and a canvas. So these are all the tables. Now we can just reduce a little bit the size, zoom out. So you can see all the tables. So we can see all these tables. Now, okay, we got the fact tables and the dimension tables. Everything is good. Everything is good. Now I want to do something, like I want to do some visualization. Let's say I want to see country-wise total invoices. Okay, country-wise total invoices. So I want countries are here. So I want to see country name because I don't want country code because no one will understand what is the code. Everyone will understand with the name. Okay, let's say this is country wise. I want total quantity. You see here, it is showing for different countries the data. Let's just make it a little bit bigger. Hope it is visible to you. Yep.
Yes,
So
yes.
you can see here each country we have values, but they are all same. They are all same. This cannot be true because all the countries won't sell or won't have the same values. Maybe they will, but this looks something suspicious. All the countries are having same values. Let's take the total quantity. So I want to see total quantity irrespective of country. So total goods quantity, I kept it in a card. This is a card visual. I kept it in a card. This is showing 256K. Okay, now I have a doubt. Like, okay, total I have only 256K. Entire sales I sold only 256K. But when it comes to country, Belgium is 250K, Finland is 250K, France is 250K. That means all this together, 250, 250, 250, almost these four itself like 1000K. And this is like 1256, more than 1000K. That is wrong. The total quantity should be 256 only. So there is something wrong with these two tables. Now, why they are giving wrong data? because countries is one dimension table and this is fact table. So we are getting name from here and we are getting quantity from here. But there is no communication between these two. There is no communication between these two. That is the reason they are not showing correct data. There should be a communication. There should be a relationship between these two. Then only they will understand each other. So the country will understand, okay, what is the value for me? What is the value for goods quantity of this so and so country? So there should be a relationship. So in order to create a relationship, we need a common ID. We need a common ID. So that ID, we call it as primary key or foreign key. So now let's go back to our previous example. Here, this is DMART data. We separated customers' data from fact table. Now, what is the common thing in these two tables to communicate? If I want a customer phone number, I want to refer customer code here and customer code here, right? Then only I can see, okay, this is the phone number of so and so customer. So customer code is the main key here. So by looking at customer code here and here, I can understand, I can see what is the phone number of the customer. So customer code is the key. Now, in customer table, customer code is only once. It is not repeated because one customer will be given only one ID. This is called primary key. Primary key. Primary keys are always unique. They won't be duplicate. Okay, they won't be duplicated. But here, if you see, here customer code is duplicated in this transaction data. Okay, that is why this is not a primary key here. This is not duplicated. This is only once. If any other customer is there, like 1235, he will get another customer code and his name is XYZ and his phone number is 123 and he is from Mumbai, let's say. So he will be given another customer code. So customer table will have customers. All customers will have unique customer IDs. But in the same transaction table, the same customer may come and do 100 transactions every day or 100 transactions in a month. Every time his ID is repeated. So this is the fact table. In fact table, so this ID is called as foreign key. Sorry, foreign key. Okay. Then what is the primary key in transaction table? There should be a unique ID for the transactions also, right? So that is transaction ID. You see, every time there is a new transaction, there is a new ID given. So this is primary key here. So each table must have primary key. Each table must have the primary key. That is a good model. If they don't have primary keys, then still we can do modeling, but still like it is not a good model. We must have primary keys and foreign keys. So the dimension table don't need any foreign keys. If there is, they can have, but they don't need any foreign keys. But a transaction table or fact table will have lot of foreign keys. So this is one foreign key. And for product table, product ID will be primary key here. Primary key. Because each product ID will be only once in product table. But the same product ID may be repeated multiple times because every time there is new transaction. So this is here foreign key. And likewise, same thing, like store also like foreign key here. So in a transaction table or in a fact table, there will be a lot of foreign keys to connect abroad. So this is like abroad tables. So to connect these tables, there should be a key. But these tables are having a key which is unique. Those are primary keys. The product ID is primary key for product table. The product ID is a foreign key in the transaction table. Same wise, customer ID is a primary key in customer table, but the same customer ID is a foreign key in the transaction table. Employee ID, let's take an employee, for example, in any organization, employee ID is for employee ID is primary key in employee table. If we consider employee table, but the same employee ID is foreign key in the timesheet or attendance sheet, because every day the same customer will come and he will mark as present and or absent. So the employee ID will be repeated in the attendance sheet. So in attendance sheet, it is a foreign key. Here in employee table, it is a primary key. Did you understand foreign keys and primary keys? The
Yes.
difference between foreign
Yeah,
key
I
and primary.
know it.
Okay. Now going back. So now we understood, okay, using these keys, we can connect to the dimension table. From the fact, we can connect to the dimension table using these keys. So the primary key of the foreign table will be connected to the foreign key of a fact table. So today we are not going to discuss a lot about the modeling. So modeling is a separate class, next concept. So this is just an intro for modeling, like what are the fact tables and what are the dimension tables, what are the primary keys and what are the foreign keys. And there are different types of other keys in SQL, but I don't want to make it complex. I just want to put very simple in Power BI modeling. Okay. Now I am connecting customer ID with the customer ID in invoice processing. So I'm just dragging and dropping. So we will talk about this relationship later. So, okay. And the connection is created between customer ID and this customer ID. Okay, we will talk about what is this, and everything. No worries. Now, once the connection is established, once the two tables are communicating, and sorry, I want country also, like country code to country code. Now I am giving the communication. I'm establishing communication or relationship between the dimension table and fact table. If I go to visualization, now you can see the difference. Now this looks some realistic numbers, right? This looks some realistic numbers. So France has different value, Germany has different value, Belgium has different value. Overall, 6, 120, 170, 200, 240, like almost 250, 256, right? So now this is correct. So without a relationship, we cannot get the proper values between facts and dimensions. When there is a relationship, we can get the proper values. So that is the significance of relationships. We need to give relationships. So these are called relationships. And now we are doing modeling. Fact table and dimension table, we are connecting with the relationships. Okay. So that is our next topic, relationships. Now you understood like why relationship is important. Now next we are going to discuss about what type of relationships we have. There are two schemas, star schema and snowflake schema. What are these schemas? And these all things we are going to discuss. But this is in the next class, not today. So we will just summarize what we discussed and we can close. So yesterday I didn't take the notes. So yesterday we discussed about transformations and we discussed about which transformations? Number transformations and date transformations. Okay, number and date transformations. And then we discussed about add column. In this add column, we discussed conditional column, index column, add column, how to add new columns like conditional columns, index columns, column from examples, and custom column. And we also seen about how to write M query, some simple M queries. Okay, and then so while after this today, that means 13/04/2025. Today we discussed about view tab. What are the different options in the view tab, like column quality, distribution, profiling, and then about query dependencies, and then in the tools section, tools tab, we seen about the diagnostics. Then very important, we discussed about the parameterization, parameters, how to create parameters, different types, and filtering using parameters, and dynamic database change using parameters, converting a column to list, right? And then after that, we completed completion of transformations. This is done. Next, we move to Power Pivot, intro, and overview about fact and dimension table, data warehousing, and primary key and foreign keys. What is relationship and importance of relationship. So far we discussed all these topics, right? In yesterday's class and today's class. So in next class we will go forward with relationships, and it will take like one class for relationships, maybe two classes for some other things. We will see how it goes. So this is all about 12/04 2025 and 13/04 2025. So I will share this document with you, and I will share this data set with some requirements. Yesterday I didn't share because we had to complete the remaining topics. So today I will share some tasks on Power Query. So please try to complete the tasks. So these are very important, more than the classes. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
that's all for today. Any doubts? We can close.
As of now, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.